What if the next step in your healing journey wasn't another journal prompt or a meditation, but just having some fun? Sometimes the best thing you can do for your mind and your body is just to relax a bit and stop trying so hard. Perhaps take some time to sing, dance, and just do something silly. In this video, I'm going to give you some ideas that just might help you laugh your way to feeling better. Of course, having fun means different things to all of us, but what I'm going to talk about today is specific strategies that you can use when you are stuck in that pain-fear cycle, or what I like to sometimes call the pain thought cycle, because you won't always necessarily feel fear. You might have thoughts that create anxiety or that you get stuck on and that feel uncomfortable. You wouldn't necessarily call it fear, but these thoughts are creating a sense of danger and hypervigilance in your body. Also, strategies that you can use when you can't focus on anything but the way your body is feeling in the moment. But when we're able to laugh, express ourselves creatively, and just have a bit of fun, we can interrupt that pain-fear cycle. Knowing that these strategies that we're going to talk about today are not fixing everything, but more about taking the opportunity to enjoy life as it is in the present moment. So the first couple of strategies I want to talk about are based on acceptance and commitment therapy, also known as ACT. ACT is a powerful psychological approach that helps people change their relationships with pain, whether that pain is emotional, physical, or both. Unlike many therapies that focus on trying to, say, eliminate symptoms and thoughts, ACT teaches us how to make room for uncomfortable thoughts, feelings, and sensations without stopping us from doing what's important to us in life. The goal here isn't to feel better right now, it's to live better even when we have discomfort. One of the important parts of ACT is cognitive diffusion. And what cognitive diffusion teaches us is that our thoughts are just thoughts, our feelings are just feelings, and our sensations are just sensations. And it helps us notice our thoughts without becoming them. So the first couple of strategies I'm going to talk about today are based on ACT. And they're really quite playful, they're really quite silly, but I find them super effective, and I really would encourage you to give them a go, because really, what have you got to lose? So the first strategy I want to talk about is naming thoughts. So I do this quite often, and really I just start with noticing a thought that I'm having that's bothering me. So it could be noticing that I'm worrying about something or I'm catastrophizing, and I will use a rhyming name to describe that issue that I'm having. So for example, if I'm feeling nervous, I might say, oh, there's the nervous Nelly thought. Or if I'm catastrophizing and thinking something's a disaster, then I'll rhyme something with disaster, which in my case is purple plaster. And they're ridiculous, they're silly, and that's the whole point. Like, they're supposed to be silly, they're supposed to be lighthearted. It's almost like you're giving an opportunity to notice the thought and not taking it so seriously. And I find actually ChatGPT is really helpful with this. And I put a prompt in recently that said, can you give me some funny 2-word rhyming names for someone who feels hopeless? And it came out with 10 different examples, but some of the ones I liked included gloomy roomy, quitty britty, and bluesy Susie. And so how you would use those is the thought would come up. It's like, oh God, it's hopeless. This pain's never going to go away. I feel so hopeless. And then you go, oh, there's the bluesy Susie story. Again, I see you. Or hello, gloomy roomy. And it's just lightening it up. It's just defusing a little bit from those thoughts, that rather than tensing up and having that thought and going into fixing mode and trying harder and getting out your journal, etc., you kind of go, oh, okay, there's that thought. Give it a name. Hi there, gloomy roomy, and just loosen it up a bit, lighten it up a bit, and giving your brain the opportunity to go, oh, this isn't so serious. I don't have to react. This is okay. Perhaps this thought is okay, and we can notice it, but we don't have to react to it. The second ACT strategy that I use, and this one is actually quite a big gun for me. I get it out when I really have a thought that is just looping through my mind and I really can't get it out. Like, I might try the rhyming and think, no, it's still there. This one's really stuck. And that is singing the worry or the story to the tune of a nursery rhyme. So that may be something that you know really well, like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, or the Happy Birthday tune that most of us, I think, would know. And so taking that story and singing along to that tune. So for example, Back in the day when I had a lot of anxiety, I used to get numbness in my fingers, and I'd had an MRI and I knew that there wasn't a problem there, but sometimes the numbness would come up in my fingers and I would still get rather preoccupied with it, even though I knew that there was nothing wrong. And I think many of us are like that with some of the symptoms and sensations we have in our body. It just depends what our triggers are and what sensations and the way that TMS or neuroplastic pain or sensations are working for us. So in the example of numb fingers, I might, and you have to forgive my singing here, I might use the tune and go, numb fingers, numb fingers, numb fingers, numb fingers, numb fingers, bloody numb fingers. And, you know, just lightening it up a bit. I'm acknowledging it. I'm not pretending it's not there, but I'm just saying it's okay for you to be here and it's okay for me to be a little bit silly with that. But hopefully you can see how you could use that for the thing that you struggle with. A sore back, sore head, and singing away to it and just seeing what happens. Like I said, you've got nothing to lose. It's worth giving it a try because who knows, it might just lighten it up. And even if it doesn't shift the symptoms, which isn't always the intent of what we do here, it might just make your experience and your day a little bit more fun. So a bonus to that activity, and it really is, this is a really big gun for me, is that if I'm really caught up in something and I really need to sort of shake it off and shift it and get a bit more lighthearted about it, I will also dance whilst I'm singing. And think the Elaine Steinfeld dance, where you can almost not do a dance like that without laughing and feeling silly and it lightening the mood. So it may be any dance for you that makes you laugh and feel a bit silly. Another activity that I find really quite helpful and fun is putting on those songs that will give us a chance to get our emotions out and sort of express how we're feeling, but also end up making us feel better or have a bit of a laugh. And this might be a bit of an Australianism, a bit of Australian slang, but we use the term that people shit us to tears. So obviously they annoy so much we want to cry, but it's a bit lighthearted and it's a bit of a joke. And recently I was listening to Spotify and a song called You Shit Me to Tears by the Tenants that was recorded back in 1999 came on. And I know all the lyrics because I was a young woman back in 1999 and it was quite a popular, fun song here, a bit of a pub classic. And I found myself singing along to it and maybe thinking of a few people that shit me to tears. And it was just so freeing and lighthearted. So perhaps just having a few songs that you find that way. Maybe your style's like, you know, Pink's So What or Kelly Clarkson Since You've Been Gone, or Eminem might be more your style. But I think it's a good idea to have a playlist of some songs that you can pop on that help you express your emotions a little bit. And the more fun and lighthearted they are, kind of the better. But there might be times also when it's appropriate to put on a song that is just a bit of a ranty song because you're actually feeling quite cross or quite put out and you just need to shift those emotions. So there are my fun strategies for dealing with neuroplastic pain and the fear thought or the fear pain loop, just some lighthearted things for you to try. And just an important note to remind people of, I'm sure you already know this when you're doing any activities like this, and certainly it's a big part of acceptance and commitment therapy, is the attitude to which we come to these activities and the intent. And remembering it's not to deny things, it's not to push things away and ignore things. It's rather just to send messages of safety and acknowledge and notice what we're experiencing in the current moment, but still doing things that are important to us, which then in turn brings our mind and body that feeling of safety. So of course, having fun and lightening things up won't fix everything, but it might just give you a bit of a relief from the pain, fear, pain, thought cycle. I'd love to hear more in the comments about what you do to lighten things up and to have fun when things get a little bit serious. If you enjoyed today's video, it would be great if you could like and subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you again in the next video.